All right, so you're probably looking at this and wondering, oh my God, this is a big jump up, right? There is a lot of stuff on this screen. So the reason that I have so much up here is it's going to help a couple of things. One, it's going to show us the advanced loader and the advanced loader with stylers. So two of these are just loaders, right? We have a commons module again on the left, and then we have samplers over on the right, two different samplers, right? I've left a couple of things on here that are kind of small bugaboos or whatever with the display of a couple of nodes, and so I'm leaving them on there so I can show you how to deal with them. Some of them are things that are just display bugs with the nodes themselves, or potentially with ComfyUI itself. I'm not exactly sure why it does this occasionally, but it's not a problem, and it doesn't cause it to not work. It can just be a little bit annoying. With that, let's move right to it. The first thing that I'm going to show you are a couple of those annoyances, just so that we can clear them out and then be done for the rest of the demonstration to concentrate on what all of these pieces do. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here to some prompts. Now, this is the advanced loader, and this is what I was talking about in the SDXL Efficient. It is a lot more complex, but it's actually not that much harder to understand. It's just bigger, right? And you have a few more options than you normally do. So in the SDXL power prompt that we're using here from RG3, great node, but for some reason, I'm not sure why, occasionally does this. You'll see up here that we have what's called a prompt G and a prompt L. Prompt G is guidance, and it basically says, I very specifically want these things, right? So I'm generating a picture of a woman using this particular embedding in LoRa. And then down here in the prompt L, the latent prompt, I'm just saying at a ski resort. Now, the difference between these two is that the prompt G gives very specific guidance of what I want to see. Prompt L is more of an exploratory thing. It has the model has a lot of freedom in how it interprets at a ski resort. And so you'll get a little more creativity from the system on things that you place down here, a little more artistic expression, so to speak, from the model. And then up here, you will get much closer to what you were asking for. And we have that on both positive and negative. However, you'll note that down here, you don't see the prompt L, and that's just a display bug. So if I do this, just hit this corner, it'll come back. And you can also choose an embedding or a LoRa on the positive side. There are no negative LoRas, or at least not that I'm aware of. And so that isn't an option down here. So, but you can choose negative embeddings, obviously. All right. So with that, we are going to move forward to the next small display issue. And that is, I've noticed occasionally ComfyUI will just insert old images into certain saver nodes and image preview nodes and stuff. When that happens, actually just a page refresh will usually fix it. And finally, this is my problem. Everything in Shima has a logo, all the major modules, so XL sampler and whatnot. However, the canvas redraw, for some reason, sometimes doesn't get redrawn. And when that happens, you can just right-click, go to Properties, select this, and press OK, and it'll come back. It forces a redraw, if that matters to you. With that, let's move forward into exactly what we're seeing here and into generating some images. First, I'm going to go ahead and try to fix this problem because it's super annoying. I'm just going to refresh and see if it goes away. And it does, but predictably, it kept its size. There we go. All right, so now that that's fixed, I'm not going to worry about it again. And I have everything I need to start generating. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of tell you what I'm doing here. I have two loaders, and normally when you have two loaders with use everywhere nodes, you get broadcast clashes. And they would show up right here. It'll actually tell you, it'll say like show UE broadcast clashes. And I could actually create those broadcast clashes by changing one of these two nodes. That's what I'm going to go into right now. So the reason that we don't have broadcast clashes is because we're using group execution control. Sampler 1, or rather loader 1, loader 1 is using the group target name of everything, including the word send1. Here, everything including the group send2. And what that meant is that when I placed these two templates with right click, in fact here, I'll get rid of it. Edit group, remove group with nodes. So let's do that, right? So when I first place it, it will have send1 in the title. I'll make that really big so it's easy to see, right? Once I place another node here, go to 2C, 2D, let's do 2D, no, let's do 2D wide. Sorry. No templates, 2D wide, no safe check, right? So right now, we probably have, or rather right now we have the ability to run a generation, but they're both going to come out of this particular loader, right? And this one is basically not involved whatsoever. Over in my commons, I have changed my group target from send1, which it is normally, to just send, meaning I want these commons to go to anything that has the word send in the group title. So down here, for send1, I'm going to right-click this group. I'm going to edit the group, title, and it's going to open up this section down here. And I'm going to go ahead and put 2 there instead, right? Wiggle a node around. That often will lead to checks happening. And we can see that we don't have any broadcast clashes. And now stuff is getting fed from this sampler, right? Or rather from this loader instead of this loader, right? I have also set it to use, in the top one, the new seed, meaning using this seed here. And I'm doing randomize each time on both of them. And so while most of the things are the same, right? The prompts between these two are the same. We're going to get different images, obviously. So I'll push Q prompt, and it'll go off and start taking care of some images while we talk about the loaders themselves. All right, and our first 2 images are up. Let's go ahead and do the advanced loader first. We'll just start at the top. We have our sacrificial control net latent node that we normally have. On the right, we have 2 LoRa stacks that are chained. And here you can load up to 6 LoRa's at a time. Over here, you get to select, as usual, your common latent from the commons section, right over there, or the control latent. Again, it defaults to 2. It uses either this sacrificial node or whatever latent comes from the control net that you happen to be using. Then down here, you can load your checkpoint. Right now, we're just using, Dynavision again. This is, these 2 nodes here are basically how long to stay on the base model and how long to go until it hits the refiner model. If the value is 0, it basically doesn't use the refiner, right? If you have any number above this, let's say you were going to do 25 steps, right? So total, right? But we want 5 steps on the refiner. So we would say set 20 steps on the base, and the total steps, 25. And so now at step 20, it'll start using the refiner. We have our prompts down here, which we're not going to really mess with. We then have our refiner checkpoint that we're loading here. And we then also have some prompts for the refiner. We're not putting anything in the negative. We're just saying, hey, you know what? When you refine it, consider ponytails, see what it comes up with. The title target is, as it usually is, .star, and then we are sending it to group 1. Let's move back up to the section here. We also have our option for stylers. So these add something to our conditioning based off of things that we might choose to put in here. All that, right? So that's just there for you to play around with. And now we're going to move over to the XL loader with styles. It is exactly the same, so we're not going to rehash all of these things, with the exception of this column. And this uses some really cool style nodes. Right now they're all set to bypass, so even though they're turned on, they're not actually going to affect the output at all. Here you can turn those styles on and off. So if you wanted to, maybe you have favorites rather than keeping them on bypass, because that can be cumbersome. Maybe each one of these, that you like a specific kind of thing. Sorry about that little delay. I was looking for this specific one, the Fortnite art style, just because it's actually pretty impressive how much it makes this look like Fortnite very rapidly. So without a lot of prompting and stuff, you can get some pretty amazing looks out of these styles. So when you need to locate it, there is actually just out of frame here a filtering list at the very top where you can type in, in this case, Fortnite, and it'll come up for you. All right, so let's go ahead and push Q prompt, and now we're going to get output from 2 different samplers, or rather 2 different loaders, and 2 different sets of conditioning, right? Because now we're applying that Fortnite art style with this second option. We're also using the refiner on the first and not on the second. And there we go, Fortnite art style. So pretty crazy how quickly it can apply these things. One other thing is right now I have preview method set to none on these, just because I didn't really want to mess with it. But here, let's queue up another set, and we'll set it to auto and see if it gives us a generation as it goes.